my time, I worked about 21 years and a couple of months in the city of New York. In my time in the Detective Bureau, I was very lucky and I got assigned to the crime scene unit. And this was the forensic unit in the city that the TV shows you're starting to see now are all about crime scene investigation. We had handled all the homicides in all 5 boroughs of the city of New York. We got a male shot in the confines of the 203 precinct over on the east side. We find out that he lives with this girl, and she goes on to tell us that she has a baby with her ex-husband. She's fallen out of love. A new person's come into her life, and she's just interested in getting on with it. At this point, we have to tell her, we tell her, unfortunately, Kevin passed away. She screams out, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. I knew he'd do this. I told Kevin this was going to happen. We get a little more information from her. We find out where the ex-husband lives, what kind of car he's driving, and anything we think that's going to help us just try to start to piece this together. We get over to the west side, over to the ex-husband's apartment. He's more than happy to talk to us.
Come in.
I'm sitting and I'm talking to him in his bedroom, asking about his day, and he's like, I've been out all day, running around up to the Bronx, and stopped and saw some friends, had some dinner with some people, and that's it. His mom's there.
I have a couple of questions for you.
We go out and we talk to the mother, and the mother's like, he's been home all day. He went out maybe for like a half hour, an hour to eat dinner, and he's been here all day. So we knew something wasn't fitting here. So we asked him if he'd come back to the 2-3 squad with us. We go up in the interview room, and it's about 2 o'clock in the morning now. We're talking to him. He's got a pretty good job. He's worked for the city of New York for a number of years. He's got no sheet. He's got no arrests. And he's telling us who he's visited, who he's seen. He was out with his niece and his nephew. He's handled himself very, very well. We know where he lives. We know what he's driving. So we finish up with him.
Thanks for your time.
And we let him go home. I had been in the city maybe 24, 30 hours with this, and I go home for a day. And when I come back to work, we go to find out that other detectives from the homicide squad in the 2-3 precinct had picked up the niece. What we find out is that she's part and parcel to this homicide. She tells us that the uncle has pretty much approached her to see if she could help him find a contract killer. And she's like, I just happened to meet this guy out in the club a couple of weeks ago. He's up from Florida. He swears he's got a couple of bodies on him. He's killed a few people. He was in the witness protection program, and he steps away from the witness protection program and comes up to New York to visit with his sister. He's seeing his sister, and now he's staying uptown. She brings this information back to the uncle, and now she becomes the liaison between uncle and the hitman. The uncle sits and he meets with the hitman for a little bit.
How you doing?
Hitman wants $5,000 to do the contract, and the uncle only has $2,500.
What are you wasting my time for?
He realizes that the hitman is taking a fancy to his niece. He promises his niece as the balance due on this hit. They go on for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks of planning on this particular hit. They drive by where the kid works. He happens to work around the block from where he's living. They watch him come, they watch him go.
That's him right there.
She brings in another cousin, a male cousin, who feels very strong ties to the uncle because he's been so good to them all their lives. On this particular night, while she's in the van, the uncle's in the van driving, the male cousin walks into the deli, sees that Kevin is still working. They're getting ready to close. He goes outside and he waits. The hitman himself, he secured himself in the building. The victim, he finishes work, walks into his building. The male cousin calls and says that he's on his way in. Out from behind the door, the hitman steps. Shoots him twice, shot him twice in the back. They go down into the van, and off they go.
Let's get at it.
Nobody saw you, right?
Now it comes to the point where the uncle has to pay the cash for the hit. So, for whatever reasons, the niece has a feeling that something's going wrong here.
What deal? What are you talking about?
And that's when she realizes that she really is, she's the second half of the payment to the uncle.
What is he talking about?
He makes her excuses, and then they get up to the bank. She's like, look, I'm going to catch up to a couple of friends. We'll catch up later on, and we'll talk. She gets out of the van and she leaves. Uncle, as we go to find out through bank receipts, goes right to the nearby Chase, or takes out whatever cash he can, and comes up with the balance due of $2,500. And now the hitman wants to know what's up with the niece. Uncle's hemming and hawing. He doesn't really know what to say, but he's going to get back to him. The niece has got a real bad feeling. For the next 3 or 4 days, the hitman's calling her, you know, and he's telling her, listen, your uncle promised me to you, you're half of the bill, you're in for this as much as I'm in for this, you know, what's going to happen here? She finally comes back in after we interview her, and she comes clean with it, because now she's in fear for her life at this point. We get her to make a phone call and to have him come in and meet her uptown a little bit. And that's what lures him into the city. She's waiting for him on the street, and there's about 10 or 15 detectives that are waiting, you know, in different parts, and he comes in and they meet.
I'm very glad you came. I mean, I really...
Boys jump out. There's a little foot race. They end up catching the guy and then bringing him in.
Freeze!
Eventually he goes to trial, and they do find him guilty of the murder, and he goes away. The two cousins, the male and the female cousins, they make agreements to not get charged with the murder, and they're both doing time now. The uncle was convicted for the hiring of him, and actually all 4 parts, all 4 pieces are away right now.